Well, Wallet Hub had that study out earlier this week that said that Pittsburgh and the Pittsburgh region, #1 football city in all of America. And you know what? We're pretty hot on the commercials as well. Dave Shoffner is with us once more as we talk about Spotball. Now in its 19th year, and Dave is going to explain what Spotball is all about. We talk with him every year before the Super Bowl and afterward as well. Our conversation brought to you by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Dave, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you back with us here today. It's always fun to talk with you and talk about the commercials at the Super Bowl and all of the hype surrounding them, because there's as much hype surrounding commercials as there is a game, isn't there?
Well, there is, yeah, and that's the big question every year. What's going to be more entertaining, the game or the ads? Some years it's the game, some years it's the ads. I feel pretty good, though. I feel pretty good about this year's ads.
Yeah, well, the ads, the game, they both look like they're lining up to be something really special. First of all, Spotball is a presentation of Pavone Marketing Group. But what is that?
Yeah, well, Pavone Marketing Group, we're an ad agency here based in Pennsylvania. We got offices in Atlanta and New York. But yeah, we're an ad agency, and we created Spotball. Gosh, this is the 19th year for it. So it was back in 2004 that we created the first Spotball, and it's sort of grown into America's Super Bowl commercial poll.
Yeah, and it's great because, you know, we have things like Puppy Bowl now and Kitten Bowl and all of these different bowls. We've got our Super Bowl that is here in Indiana County. But Spotball is really special because everybody has an interest in the commercials, and some people, they don't care so much about the game, but they do about the commercials. And it's been that way for quite some time. So you were right there at the beginning with Spotball. Tell us how it works.
Yeah, well, you can go to the site, and what we've done is we do a lot of research. We have the lineup up there, so you can see all of the brands that are going to be in the game on Sunday. But more importantly, you can vote already. Pre-game voting has started as the brands start to release their ads ahead of time, and many have. I think at last count, there are about 20 of Sunday's commercials already up on the Spotball site. So you can go there and watch about half of the ad lineup now and vote for those commercials.
Yeah, and the website's very easy to get to. It's spotball.com, correct?
That's right.
All right, and so you get to take a look at the commercials that have already been released. What has impressed you so far?
You know, I think one of the big headlines before this game is the return of the Clydesdales for Budweiser. So we're going to see the Clydesdale back in a spot, and just released yesterday, and we just added it to the site early this morning. Was a Pringle Spot, which I really like. It's so simple. I don't recall there being a single spoken word in it. And essentially, the spot is a man who gets his hand stuck in a Pringles container early in his life, and he lives his entire life with this Pringles container on his hand. So the spot shows scenes from his life with this Pringles container on his hand.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I'm looking. There really have been a lot of commercials already released, haven't there? There
have, yeah. I'm thinking probably close to 20. And then, you know, that's a trend we've seen the last couple of years. As many as 50 to 75% of the ads will be released ahead of time. You know, some people think that's sort of like seeing your Christmas gifts before Christmas. You know, some people might like that. Other people, not so much. So it does remove a little bit of the element of surprise, but it does also get people talking about these ads before the game.
For the amount of money that is spent producing these commercials, let alone actually buying the time to actually air them during the Super Bowl, there are some commercials that we only ever see during the game, and we never see them again afterwards. Why is that?
Well, it's true, and you know, it doesn't happen often. A lot of times you'll see companies air a 60-second ad during the game, and then they have to cut that down to about 30 seconds to air, you know, in other programs throughout the year, because that's the more common time spot for commercials. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of times you will see companies where it's a one and done type of thing, and you know, you like to try to avoid that. You know, I think companies would try to use this Super Bowl commercial as sort of the launch of a larger marketing campaign, and hopefully we'll see those commercials, you know, in the future as well.
Big part of the Super Bowl commercial lore is always what celebrities are going to show up when. And this year's, I see a bunch of them just looking at the site right now at spotbowl.com, where there are celebrities in commercials. You don't see it all the time, but there they are.
There they are, and that's one of the things that makes the Super Bowl so great. You know, we do see just a high concentration of celebrities in this 3-hour, you know, window of programming. You know, we've got Guy Fieri I'm looking at here. He's in a spot for Bud Light. Pete Davidson popping up for Hellman's. We got Scarlett Johansson and her husband Colin Jost for Amazon. Just the list goes on and on and on. But you're right. And one of the other ones that we just put up on the site was Arnold Schwarzenegger for BMW. That one was just released yesterday and up on the site this morning.
Oh, yeah. Seth Rogen, I see, is in one. Is that Paul Rudd that he's with there?
Seth Rogen and Paul Rudd, very funny duo. They've done some movies together. In this spot, they play friends who reminisce about their crazy adventures, and Blaze was there for every one of them.
Some commercials hit and some don't, Dave, and the post analysis is probably as intense of the commercials as it is of the football game. You didn't make the play here, you threw the interception there. There are those missteps in the commercials as well, and you wonder with the amount of research that goes into what you do for a living there at Pavone, and with the number of people who are involved in the decision making and the productions, how it is that some commercials miss, but every year there are some that are absolute, well, they're duds.
That's true, and you're right. A lot of brands will do research. Anheuser-Busch is famous for doing focus group testing. They'll create 3, 4, 5 commercials, for say like Bud Light, the funny spots, right? They'll create a bunch of different commercials and then focus group test them in the months leading up to the game to figure out which ones are, going to connect with viewers, because there's so much money on the line. There's so many people watching. There's a lot really just riding on these commercials. So you want to get it right. But you're right. I think a lot of brands will sometimes miss the mark. They try to be funny when they shouldn't be funny, or they try to tell a joke that just doesn't connect. In a game like this, you really need to be on your game. Yeah,
and a commercial that would be a very, very good commercial in the proper context, very serious commercial, something that makes a great point socially or in terms of our culture, is just going to fall flat when you put it between a Pepsi commercial and a Pizza Hut commercial or something like that. People trying to be flashy and funny and entertain, and then here comes something serious, and that tends to turn people off.
Well, that's true. And that's not to say that a serious commercial can't succeed in the Super Bowl. We see that a lot in the past, and in a game where everybody's trying to be funny, sometimes a serious commercial can kind of stand out. That can help you. And a good example is this year Toyota has a spot featuring a Paralympic skier who has trained with his brother his whole life. His brother is sort of his eyes, because this Paralympic skier has vision problems. So it's a really touching spot. I got a little choked up just watching it yesterday. So that's a good example of a spot that can be serious. That doesn't have to go for laughs, and might even stand out in our poll.
Yeah, and that's interesting too, because somehow people find the formula even within that serious format to make it work. And you're right, Dave. The stakes are so high. What is it, $6.5 million per ad just to get it on the air?
Yeah, $6.5 million. That's NBC's asking price, and that's just for 30 seconds. That is a record, though, and that's a full $1 million more than last year. Last year was 5.5. So in the 18, 19 years that we've been doing Spotball, that's the biggest one-year increase I've seen. It's a good sign, though. I think it's a good sign of the economy rebounding. It's a sign that advertisers are willing to make this investment in this game, and that these ads still work, right? So $6.5 million, though, is a steep price, especially when you consider some of these ads. A lot of these ads, in fact, are going to be 60 seconds long.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing, and the amount of money that is spent on them and the stakes for those companies that make those decisions. So it's spotball.com. Dave, how do you anticipate, or how do you recommend, I guess should be a better way to put it, how do you recommend fans use the Spotball website?
Well, I mean, it's really simple. We tried to make it as simple as we could. You can just go there right now. Like I said, view those pregame releases. About half of the ads are already up there, and you can vote already. Pregame voting is underway. And then, of course, come back on game day during the game as new commercials air. They're going to go straight up on the site for voting. And then the polls will actually remain open until noon Eastern on Monday. So we want to capture that water cooler vote. People going to work the next day, maybe they want to vote again. You can vote as often as you like.
And there's a leaderboard up there. You can actually follow the progress of these spots.
You can. And one of the new features, I'm glad you mentioned that, one of the new features this year, the data scientists here at Pavone Marketing Group have actually created an algorithm that tries to predict the winners. So we look at a series of factors about these spots. Do they have a celebrity? Do they have an animal? Are they funny? Do they make you cry? And we take all of these factors into consideration to try to predict which commercials will succeed. And so on that leaderboard, you'll see our predictive analytics rankings, and then you'll see rankings for how America voted.
Now, you have the commercials that have been released already on there. And of course, by the time the game gets here, not all of the commercials will have been released. One would think that there would at least be a few surprises for folks, right?
There will be. I'm looking forward to seeing what Google does. Google usually does some pretty quality advertising in the game in the past. Usually something a little bit heartwarming or touching. So they're sort of quiet about their plans this year, so I think they're going to be one to watch for.
Now, we're going to have you back on the air with us on Monday. We're going to talk about what we saw the night before, not in terms of what happened on the football field, but what happened on the TV screen. And it's going to be a fascinating conversation as we learn how people reacted to it. When you do this study every year, Dave, is it a surprise to you very often that what you liked or what others around the office might have thought were really, really good and effective commercials really weren't embraced in something else that you didn't care all that much for did?
There are surprises each year, you're right. But I think the nice thing that I've seen over the years with Spotball is that America, more consistently than not, gets it right? So the top 10 are usually quality spots that, as an advertiser too, you look at those spots, you think, yeah, those are good ads. Those are quality marketing, quality examples of marketing and good strategy and messaging. And I think America gets it. They know a good ad when they see it as much as we do.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys there around the office, you get in there and you take a look at how people are swinging and say, yeah, I appreciate that. That's good effort. You get an A. Dave Shoffner, thanks so much for visiting with us today. We'll catch up with you Monday. Really looking forward to it.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right. It's spotball.com, boys and girls. It's the voice of Indiana County, WCCS, 101.1 FM and AM 11.1 FM and AM 11.